On today's Small Ball Podcast, we start a new segment called Daddy's Duel. We then talk about the NBA draft and some of the top prospects. We talk about our favorite driving range, and we wrap up the show talking about a few coaching changes from around the league. This is the Small Ball Podcast.
Blows by Primo. Attack. Jokic. In the pile. Here it goes. Got it. Denver has won.
But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. But this is the hard way to do it, and we did it.
We welcome you in to the Small Ball Podcast alongside Christian Dennis and Trevor Mickelin. I'm Scott Ayers with producer Andy behind the scenes. Fellas, it's been a couple weeks, but we are finally back. And Trevor, how are we feeling?
We're feeling good, Scott. Life's been crazy. As you could tell, if you're watching on YouTube, we are in a new studio. We are no longer in the bedroom of myself. We are now in...
Why'd you say that?
We are now in my living room.
Oh.
Our living room.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we've been busy moving, taking trips, all that. So, Christian, you were recently on a trip. How was that?
Yeah, dude. I was on a trip to San Diego, and it was great. I went to my favorite place in the world, Coronado. It's a nice little island off of San Diego.
Hello.
And while I was there, I was walking the streets, and I see this really nice Lamborghini SUV. And I was like, to my friends, like, dude, this car is so sick. I love it. Like, so dope. And then as I turn to look straight ahead, around the corner comes De'Aaron Fox. I saw my point guard in my favorite place, and my reaction, I was like, oh my God. And I just like walked up to him, and I gave him the best dap I've ever done in my entire life. Like, I performed.
Wow.
And he was just giggling. He was Andy, throw that picture up. If you can tell, he's just smiling ear to ear.
He did look really happy.
Well, I'm surprised too, because like, I guess you guys know De'Aaron Fox, so you know what he looks like. But in the picture, you sent it to us, and I was like, "Who is this guy? Are you just taking pictures with random dudes?" But
Yeah.
Christian's big.
Yeah.
Christian's a big boy.
that's what surprised me. You're kind of built, Christian.
I mean, I got NBA size talent. I got NBA size. I just don't got the talent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, De'Aaron Fox with that bucket hat. I see you trying to disguise yourself, but I'm just such a diehard fan that I could just pick him out easily.
Were his hands soft?
Yeah, very. He has great touch.
All right, let's move on.
That's awesome. Well, as Trevor mentioned, we're in a new studio. If you're listening, and by studio, it's a living room. If you're listening, hopefully it sounds the same on Spotify, Apple Music, not SoundCloud, maybe SoundCloud.
No
SoundCloud, no chance, Buckaroony. But it is time for a new segment that we have created called Daddy's Duel. It's Daddy's Duel.
Daddy duel.
Drooling Daddy's Duel.
Goo goo gaga, Daddy.
Oh, gosh.
Did you just say that? Do we need to restart this show?
Hey, Andy, cut that out. Cut that out, Andy.
Yeah, cut that one out,
Oh my
Andy.
gosh.
It's Daddy's Duel between Trevor Mickelin and Christian Dennis. Topics, each person will get 1 minute. I'll give them a topic. The two will debate for a minute, and then the show will go on. If you're listening, we'd love to hear who you think wins between each topic. Was it Trevor? Was it Christian? The first topic, though, is should the Blazers maximize time with Damien Lillard, or is it time to jump ship?
I think they need to trade Dame. I think they should, utilize his talent right now and get a maximum potential return. The way I see Portland, I don't think they have a lot to try to get other assets and kind of really maximize, the remaining of his playing career.
Well, we started off on a draw because I'm right with you, Christian. I do not think that Portland sticking with Dame is the route that the franchise should go. I think it's time that they move on, trade Dame, get young assets, and start rebuilding. I think that's what they should do.
Well, first subject, maybe a bit of a draw, but this one I think will be a little bit different. Zion. Can New Orleans build around Zion Williamson? And wait, one quick thing.
Yeah.
Producer Andy has a timer in the background, so you'll know. You'll have a minute. Producer Andy, Zion, can New Orleans build around him?
Yes, Zion Williamson is a superstar that has battled injury. I do not think the concern of his health. Now, listen, I get the weight stuff, but this is Zion Williamson. Have you seen him jump? Answer my question.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen him jump.
Is it impressive?
Yes, very impressive.
Looks like me.
Zion Williamson, you're going to be able to build around him. And you know what else? They are building around him. They just...
Wow, Andy has cut Trevor
Andy.
off. Christian, your
I
time
was
is
just
now.
getting started.
Yeah, Trevor was just
That
getting
was
started.
Such a bad defense.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead, Christian.
I feel like what the Pelicans did this year and where they ended up, I feel like adding Zion to that team kind of makes it a little clunky and awkward, just with spacing and stuff like that. I just like, I can't get behind trusting a guy who kind of seems like he doesn't necessarily want to be in New Orleans. He's just going to turn into Anthony Davis to where he's just going to force his way out. And then plus his health is just a little concerning on my part. So that's why I don't want to go with him.
Nice. Very well.
He was already
said,
an
Christian.
all-star. He's incredible. He just needs to be healthy. You could build around him. Boom. That's it. They're going to be the number one
Wow.
seed next year.
This next question, you have to choose a side. There's no...
Okay.
We're both on one side.
I'll start
Okay.
on this one.
All right. Who is better looking? Harrison Barnes or the Joker?
What? Harrison Barnes is better looking. Have you ever seen him in a suit?
Yeah.
He's the president. Oh no, he's the what? He has a role in the Players Association. He's something, and that man is a businessman. He looks good, clean cut, always. Remember when he was doing his I'm gonna grow a beard until the Kings make the playoffs? He gave up on that. That was a couple years ago, and thank goodness he did because man, he rocks a goatee. He keeps it clean cut. He does his thing. Good looking dude.
I'm glad you said Harrison Barnes because I think it's Nikola Jokic because have you seen him as a child? Did you see the glow up he has? He's super tall now. He kind of has like dark, mysterious eyes, and I think he's super goofy
Do you
and
actually
silly,
believe
and I
this?
think that adds to his looks. I think that makes him better looking. That he's silly.
you
Harrison
guys-
Barnes is just kind of stiff.
Yeah, that's really good. He's
you guys-
quirky too.
Do you guys remember that photo of Joker and that like sideline reporter from the off season, like 2 off seasons ago, and people were like,
Yes,
Slim Jokic."
Slim Jokic. It kind of shocked the world. It was like,
shocked the world.
oh my gosh, this guy's kind of built now.
He looked good.
Yeah, he did. He still looks good, according
Not
to
as
Christian.
good as Harrison Barnes, though.
Whoa. Okay, Christian, you actually get to start this next topic.
Thank you.
Hustle, the movie, the new Adam Sandler movie has come out, has had great reviews, but I want to get your take. Good, bad, or meh?
I think Hustle is probably one of the best basketball movies that has come out in a while. Juan, or was it Juancho? I don't know how to say
Hernan
his-
Gomez.
Hernan Gomez, yeah. He looks like a stud, and it's kind of wild that the Sixers passed on him. You know, if the Sixers drafted him, they'd be final. They'd probably be playing right now in the finals. But I think the favorite part of the
Are you talking
movie
about
is that
in the movie or in real life?
in the movie they passed on him.
Got it.
But I think my favorite part about the movie is that Anthony Edwards' characters,
Your time's up, man.
his first name's Kermit.
Spoiler alert for Kermit. All right, Trevor, your turn.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie. Scott, did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it either, Trevor.
Let's move on.
Well, I basically just told you the whole movie.
Yeah,
so.
no, I don't need to even watch it now, but I'm excited that it was so good. All right, best NBA rapper, or best rapper that can play basketball, I should say. Quavo, J. Cole, Drake, and Kevin Hart. Or Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart's a rapper.
Not Kevin Hart. So Quavo, J. Cole, and Drake.
Between those three.
I was just thinking of Kevin Hart at the All-Star game, and it's kind of awesome.
Yeah, which of those three played professional ball?
Oh,
You know the answer.
J. Cole.
J. Cole. He played pro ball. He played 3 games overseas. You want to
Played
know his
3?
stats?
Yeah, tell us.
In the first game, he had 3 points. Second game, well, he also had 3 rebounds and 2 assists that game. Kind of
Draymond-esque.
Yeah, filled the stat sheet. Second game, 0 points, 1 rebound, 0 assist. Third game, 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, an average of 1.7 points per game. May not be the best, but he did it. He played pro ball. That's all he got. And he could still dunk.
Wow.
Wow,
J. Cole.
he can dunk? How tall is J. Cole?
He's tall. 6'3", I think. And
Actually?
yeah.
Wow, I just thought he was a short king.
Pretty sure his whole album, too, was just about the off season. That's what it was called.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good luck, Christian.
That is cool. I'm going to go, I know we've seen Quavo play, but I kind of like 2 Chainz here. 2 Chainz, you know,
Full bracelets.
he's got a few chains on, so he's not even wearing the correct amount of chains. But he's pretty tall. He's 6'5". So that is a starting 2 guard in the league. And he's much bigger than J. Cole. So I think he would, 2 Chainz could go play professional ball if J. Cole can.
What's 2 Chainz' age? Did you do your research on that?
2 Chainz, I can, pull it up right now. He's 44.
Whoa, does that scare you a little bit?
He's Jake Crowder.
I'm not building a team around him. I'm just saying he's a better basketball
He's
player.
Jamal Crawford.
Dude,
2 Chainz in his prime is better than J. Cole, okay?
All right.
All right, let's get serious again. Darius Garland, DeJounte Murray. Who would you rather build an NBA franchise around?
I like DG, Darius Garland, being 22 years old. He's an all-star already. He's a great facilitator, and he can get you a bucket. So, he averaged like 21 points this year and 8 assists. He's a real good team player. That's what you want as a point guard, to set up the offense, make sure it's flowing good. So that's why I'd pick DG over DeJounte.
I'm so glad that you brought up stats with this, because that's going to feed right into my take. DeJounte Murray this season averaged 21 points per game, 9.2 assists, 8.3 rebounds, also an all-star, and deservingly so. He has the stats to prove it. Offensively, he's really made vast improvements every year, and he's the best defender on his team. He's one of the best, perimeter defenders in this league. I would prefer, even though he's 25, a little bit older, I would prefer DeJounte Murray if I'm trying to win.
I think either way you go, both are wonderful point guards that I think anyone who has them is going to be very, very happy. And finally, should the NBA shorten its season? There's been talks with players resting, sometimes sitting out, worried about injury. The idea of maybe shortening the NBA season just to see players play in every single game, or maybe prevent more injuries. Fellas, what do you think?
I do not think the NBA should shorten the season. I was thinking about today, with the NFL. It feels like the NFL has been away for so long, and it has been, and it's not going to be back for a couple months. Just think about the NBA. It's a longer season, 82 games, and then you have the playoffs. As soon as the season's over, dude, we're talking about the draft next week. The offseason moves so quick, and then before you know it, preseason's back up. It's, to me, the most fun as a fan to watch the NBA, because it's coming right back. It's so fast. The offseason's short due to the length of the season. I don't think they should shorten it. They got something going.
I think they should shorten it, and I think they should kind of switch it up by throwing in that play-in tournament, and maybe that play-in tournament is over several weeks. That kind of makes up
Play-in.
or excuse me,
Like a mid-season
mid-season tournament. And so maybe that midseason tournament takes like 3 weeks to play out, but there's just longer rest periods, and the way they structure the tournament, they can have games playing every night. But it's kind of just prolonged to where, you know, they can make up that like quote unquote time, but in theory play less games in the season, because that'll keep it competitive. And like you said about the NFL, it seems like forever ago since the season ended. So to keep that relevancy, so that's why I would, you know, shorten the season just to switch it up, just to test it out, see if it works. And it might help with less injuries. You know, it sucks seeing Kawhi not play the whole year because he's been out, you know, from last year's injury.
Yep. Well, that was Daddy's duel between Trevor and Christian. Great work on the first ever edition.
Good duel.
Fair. You're a fair opponent.
Very well.
Worthy.
You are very worthy. And we mentioned kind of the offseason. The offseason's right around the corner with that Celtics and Warriors series, starting to come to an end, which means the NBA draft is right around the corner, just 10 days away.
Let's go.
The NBA draft, a wonderful time of year, especially for us small market fans. This could be a life-changing type of draft for anyone. And it kind of seems like there's a big top tier of 4 players. But right now, it seems like Jabari Smith has the overall best odds of going first to Orlando. For Orlando, does this make a lot of sense? Do we think Jabari Smith is the right fit? Or do you think there might be someone better to fill that number 1 spot?
I mean, I feel like Orlando should take best player available, because when you look at that roster, I mean, who's their number 1? Like, are you trying to build around Wendell Carter Jr.? Like, you have, like, you know, nice pieces with Franz and Cole Anthony, Markelle, Jalen Suggs, but who is your number 1 guy? I mean, I don't understand why Jabari Smith Jr. is the consensus number 1 pick when you have guys like Chet and Paolo there. And I think they need to explore all their options. All the rumors say Jabari Smith Jr. is number 1. But I feel like, you know, Paolo is that guy who can be a number 1 on a team, and he's instant offense, which I feel like is deserving of Orlando, like taking a look and maybe selecting him number 1, because that just kind of makes them a lot better offensively.
Yeah. I love Jabari. I like him a lot. I think that he's really the whole package, aside from playmaking. He's not the best playmaker and not the best with the dribble. But if I'm at number 1, if I'm Orlando, for the reasons that you're saying, I'm taking a hard look at Chet. Like, you have to look at him. And in my opinion, Chet's the guy that if I was the GM there, I would pick. I understand the concerns of his frame. Like, I get that. But you can't, there are really no concerns about his play style and his talent. Like, it's there. The only concern in is his body. Like, if that's the only concern, you get him in with an NBA trainer and NBA chefs and all of that, get him on a plan, he's going to gain weight. That's what people were saying about KD. We love that comparison. But it's true. Giannis, too. Like, his fit, too. People have brought up the fit. He's not the best fit. They already have bigs. The Magic aren't in the position yet to worry about fit. You draft best player available, like you said, that you got to go out and get the star. And if you look at all of those guys, it's a 4-player draft, like we've been saying. You have Chet, Paolo, obviously
Smith.
Jabari, and Ivy. Those 4. Which one has the highest ceiling?
Ooh, the highest ceiling?
To me, with the frame that Chet has, it's a thin one. But if you can build that out with his talent, the guy like has shown flashes of crazy playmaking. He's shown flashes of shooting, stretching the floor. Defensively, he could be like one of the best rim defenders in the league. We've seen him actually go out on the perimeter, and his lateral quickness will shock people in the NBA. I think without a doubt, he's got the highest ceiling out of those guys.
That's fair.
His frame is so scary to people, but I think you got to go. I think you got to go Chet number 1.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think too, that's what makes this top 4 exciting. I don't see Ivy being a number 1 guy, going number 1 overall, but I see the other 3 all very much being worthy of that number 1 pick. I like Jabari Smith, and I do think he would be a really nice fit in Orlando if they want to continue to build out with what they have. Because we were watching even some of his highlights before the show today, and he's just so smooth, even off the dribble. Take 2 dribbles, and he's got a nice mid-range or something from beyond the arc, and he did that time and time again this season. What's interesting, too, is outside of Paolo, Jabari, Chet, and Jaden Ivey, and this isn't a point why you wouldn't take him number 1, but all in the NCAA tournaments in their last game really did not perform well, which is just kind of one of those things that kind of makes you scratch your head a little, because that's when you expect the stars to shine brightest. Paolo was phenomenal in the NCAA tournament, which that doesn't mean you're going to transition well into the NBA, but it does talk a bit about, hey, at the biggest stage, this is how they performed. So something to think about as well. That kind of moves into, we mentioned Chet. You're the professor of Chet, Trevor. You've been preaching wisdom for quite some time.
Welcome to Chet University.
Chet University lead professor, Trevor Michelin. We kind of move on, though, to that 4th pick, which is the Sacramento Kings. Trevor, Christian, obviously being Kings guys, you know a little bit more. Something to think about if it's Ivy there at number 4. Do the Kings go and grab Ivy, or are they trading down, maybe trying to trade for a player currently in the NBA?
Yeah, I think the Kings are in a really interesting situation, and thank goodness if you're a Kings fan that they moved up. You're in a really good spot. We said earlier this is a 4-man draft, and so there's going to be teams that are going to be hitting your line on draft night, inquiring about, hey, like we really like that Ivy kid, or one of the bigs could fall to 4, or we like Paolo. Like if that ended up happening, if Ivy goes 3, the Kings line is going to be just buzzing, because teams are going to think, oh my gosh, we have a chance to get Paolo. If I'm Sacramento, I'm picking whatever player falls out of that top 4 that we've already mentioned. I'm taking that player, or if a trade for a star becomes available, that's what I'm doing. If I'm Sacramento, that's my plan. However, there's a lot of talk about Monty, the Kings GM, possibly being interested in the Kings front office, possibly being interested in trading down for a player that fits better instead of reaching for a player at 4. Like for example, Keegan Murray. A lot of news has been stirring up about Keegan Murray and the fit with the Kings. It is an incredible fit. Like, I'm not even going to argue that, but you can't pick him at 4. And so there is a possibility that they look to trade down, and it's just finding the right deal for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like you kind of nailed it there. I really, if I was the Kings, I'm waiting till that 3rd pick is selected before doing anything. Yeah. There's a lot of smoke screen going around of, OKC really likes Jaden Ivey. They like Shaedon Sharpe. I don't know if they're thinking of Sharpe at 2, but if they're actually interested in Ivy, the Thunder are notorious for, putting out the smoke screen and you don't know what they're doing. They drafted Giddey last year at like 6 and no one expected that.
True.
So, with that, I'm waiting to see what the Thunder do. And even the Rockets have mentioned the fact that they like Ivy. The thought of having a backcourt of Jalen Green and Jaden Ivey, just one of the most athletic, electric scoring backcourts, is really intriguing to them. So that's why if I'm the Kings, I'm waiting to see what happens after that 3rd pick. I don't hate the fact of Jaden Ivey on the Kings. A lot of people are like, I don't know about their fit. And, the past 2 years they drafted guards and stuff like that. I think Jaden Ivey can play with Fox. He's shown a lot of off-ball movement. He's a good cutter. He's extremely athletic. If we can just get him to, buy in on defense with his 6'11" wingspan, he can cause a ruckus on the defensive end. And then boom, we're going fast. That's a really fast backcourt. And then plus, Sabonis is going to be able to navigate the offense and have 2 athletic, fast cutters, like I feel like that's a bucket every time. I'm not really like sold on the fact of trading back to like the 6th pick that we've seen rumors of like Brogdon in the 6th pick for the 4th. Doesn't really do it for me. Like that's like trading a potential star for like just 2 guys who are going to be like average NBA players.
That trade, I actually do like that trade. If I'm Sacramento, I don't know if Indiana, if they fall in love with Ivy, maybe they would be willing to part ways with Brogdon. But
well, the thing is Ivy went to Purdue and he's an Indiana guy. So like that's where like the rumors are.
Sure. And that probably holds no truth. I don't know. But if it is, then I like the fit of Brogdon. The only thing would be his health.
Right.
But I like the fit of bringing in Brogdon. And then if Keegan Murray's still there, if Detroit doesn't pick Keegan, I like that team right there. That's a good starting 5 with Harrison Barnes and Sabonis thrown in with Fox and I think it could be fun. Davion, I don't know.
Yeah, could be decent. It's just like you said with Brogdon. It's just you can't really rely on him. Past few years, he's just been unhealthy. But I don't know. The fact that Jaden Ivey could be like a bigger Donovan Mitchell type of guy, like I kind of rather just take the swing on him.
100%.
Yeah. And that is why we go to the King's Corner for Trevor and Christian talking about just kind of that outlook of what the Kings should do. Finally, in NBA news, it's not going to be for the NBA draft this year, but a potential prospect for next year. Leonard Miller has withdrawn his name from the NBA draft. 2022 NBA draft and has signed with the G League team Ignite. Ignite now has 4 players that are prospects for the NBA draft this year. We've actually seen a trend in players withdrawing their names and either going G League, which is becoming a much more favorable option. He also joins Scoot Henderson, who just signed the biggest deal with Puma for a non-professional athlete, 7 figures for Henderson, and he is a very, very impressive prospect as well.
Yeah, I really like what the G League Ignite has kind of turned into. The idea of it, when it was first announced, is a little kind of shaky in my opinion, but there's some really good prospects that have come from the G League Ignite. You got Jalen Green, you got Jonathan Kuminga, and there's several players that are in the draft this year that are really nice prospects. Like I like the fact that Dyson Daniels, who was from Australia, decided to come over to the G League Ignite and play here in the States, because I feel like that kind of helped his draft stock a lot because it just made it easier for him to scout. He's playing against, ex-NBA players, fringe NBA players. So it's kind of a little bit better competition than what you would maybe see in Australia or in college. So I really like what it has become. And I'm excited to see players like Scoot Henderson take the G League route and, kind of keep the trend of making the G League more popular, because it's really good basketball out there. It's
right.
Just, it's fun to watch. It's different than college, but it's fun.
Would you say too in G League, the developmental process between G League and maybe college basketball, which is a very important time for these players, what would you say has had, maybe the sample size isn't big enough between those 2 leagues. Are we seeing guys that go to the G League? Are they developing properly when they go there? Obviously, Jalen Green goes number 2. Do we see that going to be a common trend? Because you mentioned they're playing fringe NBA guys or guys who were big in the league maybe at once and have kind of fallen out as well.
Yeah, I feel like the development of the G League it's going to continue to improve. I don't know if it's going to be better than like development in college. Seeing guys that, take 1 to 2 years in college, they might just learn a lot of different things that, players in the G League may learn. For example, in college, that's where you can really learn how to play fundamental basketball, maybe be more fundamentally sound on defense, whereas the G League is a more NBA style to where they're just kind of working on their offense and they're just kind of running up and down the court, maybe not focusing so much on the true fundamentals, because these guys are crazy talented and athletic, and that's where a lot of players rely on. But I mean, it's hard to say since it's so new.
It's new. And,
But yeah, I mean, like you said, like it's going to be interesting to see how it develops over time.
I wouldn't say I've been like, there hasn't been a guy that's come out of the G League and like, oh my gosh, he's so ready. You could tell he's been playing fringe pro basketball. There hasn't been that guy yet. Like
Right.
Kuminga, Jalen Green, they've all kind of come out like a normal rookie, and there hasn't been that
they
guy.
haven't blown you away.
Exactly, not yet, and it's too early to really tell. We'll see as it continues every year.
And one kind of final point too is I will say overall though, it is a great time for like a high school athlete deciding where he wants to go, because now in college we have these NIL deals, and so for guys like Drew Timme who maybe they don't see themselves having the NBA lifestyle, he's still going to get paid for what he's worth in college, which is great. On top of that, guys who are 17 to 18, they can now make a really nice deal, get paid before going to the NBA, or they can go the G League route, which we've talked about. You're getting a salary, and you have a chance to sign with Puma, Nike, whatever the heck it might be, and really have a nice little payday as well. So it's a really exciting time for these prospects and these kids. With so many people watching them, it's nice to see them take advantage of maybe what they're worth as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it all depends on what the player's financial status is and what's a better route for them. And I don't blame them for, needing to support their family. If the G League is a better move for them, it'll, just go for it. But it's going to be really interesting to see, like, if that is able to translate to, like, maybe longevity in the NBA.
Yeah, definitely. Fine. And I brought up Drew Timme, but if you are Drew Timme and you're listening, stay in college for as
Get that degree,
long
man.
as you can, because you'll get paid at Gonzaga. I don't know how many times you get your master's and just keep playing, man, because do the little mustache thing you do when you dunk the ball, and you'll get paid for it for a lifetime. So shout out Drew Timme. Well, guys, it's that time of the show again where sounds like we've got another sponsor. Whoa. Wow. It's weird that we keep getting all these sponsorships, a new show, everything right around the corner. But this one kind of hits home close to us here in Phoenix. It is an exciting time because we are in a golf league at our office, all playing, all on 3 separate teams. Best of luck to you, Christian. Best of luck to you, Trevor. And as we all know, in a league, you have to find time to get better. So how about this? Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Trevor, your eyes are open. How about this? It's a cool driving range. With music. Whoa. Food. Laughter. And love?
What?
Yeah. Well, try out Bel Air Golf Park driving range. It is a wonderful time. It's the course, I think, is beautiful. I haven't played. Have you played, Trevor?
I have not.
Christian?
I played on Friday. Played the best round of golf I've ever played in my life.
Best round of golf. And did you go to the driving range beforehand?
I didn't, but I went after because I just had so much fun.
Driving range.
And that is why this ad is for the Bel Air Golf Park driving range. We actually went the other day, and I watched a 17-year-old kid hit a 280-yard drive. You won't see that at any other range. It was humbling, humiliating. I drive about 205, but it was perfect.
Straight, though.
My drives are straight, and I will say my one gripe with Bel Air Golf Park driving range, there's nowhere to have a spot for a lefty to tee off. I play like Phil Mickelson, and they don't have anywhere for me. I can tee off the ball. I knocked down my drink. I'm so sorry, but otherwise it is perfect. So check out Bel Air Golf Park. Big shouts out to Braxton, Corey, and of course Jackson's dad.
Yep.
Please sponsor us. Thanks, guys. No, but seriously, we do love Bel Air Golf.
Yeah, it's really cool. They put
Golf
in
park.
the
LED.
colored lights. Yep, and it kind of goes with the music that they're playing, and they have that the Topgolf technology. So it's kind of a cheaper Topgolf, which is so sick.
It's a cheaper Topgolf. It's fun. Yeah, I was about to say less expensive. Like, what are different ways to say things are cheaper?
More affordable.
It's more affordable, and they still have drinks,
Food.
beverages, and food.
Yep. They even have weddings there.
They have weddings.
We were at the driving range and we look over to the right and there's just these two couples like just getting married, and then we went to the putting green that's next to the driving range and we started dancing on the on the putting green because of the music from the wedding. It was lit.
And then the wedding photographer came up to us and took our photos.
Yeah.
This is the greatest driving range. This isn't even part of the ad read. I love Bel Air.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Stuff that is also kind of nice is when maybe you get hired. And big shout out to Kenny Atkinson, who was just hired as the head coach of Charlotte.
Killer Kenny.
Killer Kenny. What does this mean? What does this mean for Charlotte? Christian, you were kind of talking a little bit about this before the show. What should we expect with this kind of hire?
I think it's a great hire because Kenny Atkinson can, provide a culture. He can build that. I think he can kind of recreate sort of that Brooklyn Nets D'Lo era where it was just really fun. It was easy to root for. It was good basketball. And what is great about Kenny is he can build that winning culture while also developing young talent. So the players are developing and they're getting used to winning. It's kind of a recipe for success.
It's always good, too, if you're coming from the Warriors system.
True.
Well, we move on from a coach that is coming in to a coach that is going out. Quinn Snyder steps down from his position with the Utah Jazz, which has kind of caused a crumbling effect with now Donovan Mitchell feeling uneasy about the situation. Trevor, what does Utah need to do? What should they do with Snyder stepping out the door?
Yeah, I wonder if my Honolulu shaved ice are going to hire Quinn Snyder, who I talked about a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Corky Quinn, man, on his way out, slick back hair, tan skin. Yeah, I mean, that's the big question is what is Utah going to do with Donovan and Rudy? And with, like you said, it's already starting to crumble. I think in the next coming weeks, we're going to see something else, and more is going to happen. Let's just say that it continues down that path.
And Utah, really quick, Utah doesn't even have a first-round pick for this year's draft.
Yeah, if I'm Utah, I'm doing everything in my power to hold on to Donovan, and I make Rudy Gobert expendable. I said that on a past show. But let's play, let's just talk about the what ifs. If they do go down the route of, parting ways with Donovan continues to be upset. Why do you have that face?
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, a couple episodes ago, I might have proposed a trade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how can we forget that one?
Yeah. The trade we said was terrible.
Yeah, the trade you said was terrible. But continue your thought. I won't interrupt.
Yeah, he's not going to Minnesota. I can tell you that much.
I don't know. Did you guys hear who's on the trade block in Minnesota?
Who?
D'Angelo Russell. And I have to say, if Donovan Mitchell and D'Angelo Russell are exchanged, I will be insufferable. I will be the most toxic and chaotic human being that has ever walked this planet. I read the YouTubes.
Yeah.
I read comments.
Yeah,
I listened to coworkers.
Yeah.
They said I was an idiot.
People were coming at you in the comments.
They came for my throat.
Yeah.
But not anymore if this trade goes through.
Yeah. Shout out to those commenters. We appreciate the honesty on Scott's awful take. But here's the thing. He's not going to Minnesota, okay? I think there are a couple landing spots that he can go. He said he wanted to go to a glamour market.
Minneapolis is awesome.
Don't they have the biggest mall in the world?
Yeah.
Mall of America.
You can do so much
the
shopping.
land of 10,000 lakes. Donovan's going to love lakes.
Dude, he wants to go to a place like Miami.
Oh.
Or New York.
Damn.
So, so I mean, the packages from those two towns, not the greatest. I'll be honest. I mean, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, if they're trying to go to the and here, let me preface this too. If we're going to talk about the Donovan Mitchell stuff, they need to. I guess I'll talk about flipping Gobert first, because if they are going to trade Donovan Mitchell, you cannot keep Rudy Gobert. Like, if you do go down the route of trading Donovan, you don't want to have a roster that's a bunch of young guys stuck with a Rudy Gobert. That's not going to help you in the long run. His contract's bad. And so let's talk about the Rudy trade first before I even get to Donovan. I think a good trade partner for Rudy would be Toronto. You give them a ring. Now, the immediate thought for a lot of Jazz fans is we can just trade for Siakam, and because their contracts line up. Utah fans, I'm so sorry, but Toronto's not going to do that. They're not going to trade Siakam, their best player. But Utah, you can pick two of these two players. I think you guys can go after OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., Fred VanVleet. Those guys, maybe throw in a couple draft picks, and you could pick two of those three and try and, salvage what you can for Rudy Gobert. Why are you laughing?
I just look over at the screen and it's just the nightly news talking about gun laws.
Yeah, listeners, we have TV running. But anyways, yeah, so I think if you're going to trade Donovan, you have to trade Gobert. I think that trade is interesting with Toronto, and my goodness, would that be such a good move for Toronto. I think their roster would look a lot better than it does right now, and they were pretty solid this year.
They could start Fred. If
he's not a part of that.
Yeah, if he's not a part of it, but Pascal.
Just think about their front court alone.
Rudy.
Scotty Barnes, Rudy, Pascal.
Delano Ben.
Those three right there, like, that is such a good front court, and that'll be fun. So I think that's interesting. I don't know if that's the best landing spot for Rudy, but who else is going to take that contract? And then as far as Donovan, we talked about it. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, maybe a first-round pick, maybe two, and that's the package you get back for Donovan. I don't think that's too great. You could talk about, like, Miami, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, just to boost up the salary cap, get that to match, maybe throw in some picks. That doesn't get me excited. The one that does get me excited is if you think about a team in the East that would need a boost and maybe another star to pair up with who they have, Atlanta. Atlanta's been super active in the trade talks, and they've been throwing out names like John Collins, and maybe you can, because you're going to get Donovan Mitchell, like a 3-time All-Star, a guy who can change your franchise alongside Trae Young. That backcourt would be crazy.
It's two ball-dominant guards. Do you think that would...
That play no defense.
Do you think that would... I see those two, and it's almost the same thought as Kings fans, like Donovan Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox. When I think of two ball-dominant guards, both in the backcourt together, I just have a hard time seeing that work well. So that's why, in theory, offensively, you're like, hubba wubba. But I kind of stray away from it because it's just guys who like to dribble the ball out of the air.
I think Atlanta can offer the best package. Because Atlanta just has a bunch of guys that can play, but it just doesn't. There's too many guys on the roster.
They have so many wings.
Yeah, they're expendable. I mean, having to John Collins coming back on the deal, maybe you throw in Bogdanovic,
DeAndre Hunter,
like
Kevin Huerter. Choose your wing.
Yeah, they have assets to where they can trade for Donovan. So it might be something they're explored. Atlanta is really trying to.
Yeah. And they have
improve.
picks. They have their picks to trade. So if Utah's looking for a big get back, Atlanta could be the team for them. But again, Utah, I'm not trading Donovan Mitchell. I'm trying everything in my power to keep him. So
yeah, and I feel like one way to keep Donovan Mitchell, since they're on a coaching search, Johnny Bryant, he's a New York assistant coach right now. He's like super tight with Donovan Mitchell. So that might be a way.
Interesting.
That, they can keep Donovan happy, and then, you got to move on from Gobert. If they try to run it back, it's just beating a dead horse with a stick. Like, just give up on it.
You cannot run it back.
No, you literally can't.
You got to find a trade partner for Rudy. That's what I think. But you can't trade Donovan Mitchell. You just can't.
I'm not trading Donovan until he says, please trade me.
Trade me to Minnesota. That's when you're like, all right, come on in, D'Angelo Russell, and a first-round pick. But no, I agree. It's a very interesting time for Utah. Cannot run it back. That's nightmare fuel. That sample size is just too big to know that it's a bit of a failed project for Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. It's that time again where our show has come to an end. Trevor, well said at the end there. Christian, you did a wonderful job. Producer Andy did a great job. So it's that time for the wrap-up. Producer Andy and Trevor Mickulin, and for Christian Dennis, I'm Scott Harris. We say so long for now. We will see you next week.
Please like and subscribe.